Good morning. Welcome to our live broadcast. And today we are working on the Shuttlestar S3560. The machine just arrived a few days ago. I'm going through calibrating the machine, just doing some final tests, and then it goes out tomorrow for delivery to a new customer, a new home. So this is the second machine we've sold this month, so it's a good start to the month. And hope you enjoy the video. Today I'm just going to be removing a component off our large board. This is Vertex 6. I think it's about 15 or 1800 IO count Vertex 6 board. So you can just watch, do a little removal. I hope you can hear me because the guy on the machine's better than here, so it's a little noisy, but we'll try and speak up loud. Yeah, it's a Vertex 6 1759 ball. It's a good size chip, good size board. Well, so what we do is we like to put a little flux under the chip. And this is just aiding in helping the heat transfer, giving a good reflow. This particular chip, when they put it on the board, there's too much solder paste. There's a lot of solder paste deposition, so I want to get the flux to work in there and make sure all that solder paste melts and reflows for us. What I do is install a thermocouple under the chip. I want to make sure we're coming up the temperature. So now I'm just lining the chip up inside the nozzle. So pretty tight fit. It's 48. Size up to 50, so I think we're going to go with 48. Put a little bit larger pickup tube on this one. The nozzles are magnetic, so they just stick right in place. Very easy to put on. Okay, so the chip looks pretty centered. We'll put that in. And then we're just going to do a desolder. So this particular unit, it has a touch screen control, and you could also use a mouse. It's pretty much like just using your cell phone or using an iPad. You just touch the screen and do your commands. It has a built-in high-resolution video camera with a high-resolution monitor, HDMI connection, and you can zoom up to about 120 times zoom, so it's got a really nice system. Very compact. It's built into the head, so pretty much it's a plug and play. You plug it in, and we'll give you the training and go from there. But it's a very easy to use machine. This machine has a top and bottom hot air. Has a perimeter infrared on the bottom. Very efficient, even bottom heating system. The infrareds go up to 450 C, and the hot air top and bottom 350, 400 max. But normally you're never going to need more than 350 unless you have a really intricate, thick board. Usually about our settings are pretty low to remove the chips here. So right now we're letting this go through a slow ramp up phase till it comes up to reflow temperature. And once it reflows, it'll automatically lift the component up. Usually the profile takes around 7 minutes from start to finish. This particular profile is a 4-zone profile. We're just near the end of zone 3. You can program the machine for up to 8 different reflow zones. Our typical profiles are around 3 to 4 zones. We achieved a good reflow there. Chip came up very nice. Now the machine automatically cools down. So once the end of the profile, I'll lift the chip. You have top heater cooling, bottom heater cooling. You have cross fan cooling here. So this, you have the cross fan that cools the board and the infrareds. Plus the infrareds also have internal, much bigger than that. Plus the infrareds also have internal fans. So you have 4 ways of cooling. So this machine cools down really fast. Usually takes about a minute to a minute and a half, and then you can start your next board. So you have a very fast cool down. A lot of your machines out there have some pretty heavy bottom heaters. They don't have a good cool down. It may take 15 to 20 minutes for a machine to cool down. So when you're looking at machines, you want to know what type of cool down they have on their bottom heaters. How long does it take to cool down, so you know how long you have to wait between boards, because you can't start the machine up when it's hot and have this consistently same profile. There you have it. Our chip's removed. It's still a little bit hot, but you can see it solder reflowed very nicely across all the solder balls. So basically what I did here is based on what I saw on that chip removal, I decided to adjust the profile slightly. And what we did is we increased the reflow temperature on the zone on the last zone by about 10 degrees. And then I decreased the time that I'm going to hold it by about 30 seconds. And I think we'll achieve a little bit better reflow with a little bit less time that way. Our machine's cooled down, so I'm going to turn it off. We're going to be moving the chip. The next phase, we're going to reball these chips. And I'm just going to show you a quick way that we prep them. And then we're going to do a second segment for the reball. So we'll prep them right now, and then after we prep the chips, we'll get them ready for, we'll do a different broadcast for reball. I'll have that up shortly. There we go. Just refocus on position of the camera here. So what we have here is an air vac solder fountain, and these are very nice for taking the solder balls off the chip. That way you don't have a direct contact with your solder gun, although we do some solder gun contact. These chips are a little bit sensitive, have sensitive solder mass, so I prefer not to solder work them, and we use the solder fountain instead. I'm going to show you how that's done. So we turned our solder fountain on here, and what the solder fountain does is just pumping up a nice layer of liquidous molten solder. I'm going to wait a minute or two and let that all come up to temperature. Here I have 4 chips, same chips we removed yesterday, cleaned them, baked them in the oven overnight. So now we're going to prep them. We're going to remove all the solder balls off the chip. So what we'll do is we'll take the chip, I'll dip it in some liquid flux. So we've fluxed the whole bottom of the chip. I'm holding it in this freezer that I make a hold of the chip. We're just going to go across here. This is going to remove the solder balls. Move the solder balls and give you a nice even layer to put the new balls on. Okay, so those are all gone through the solder fountain. They removed the majority of the solder balls, and now there's just a nice flat solder bump on the chips that we can attach the ball to. What I'll do is I'll let this cool down a little bit. I'll inspect them under the microscope, and I'll just make sure that all the pads took solder and that they're all evenly. And if there's any pads that have a little higher bump than other ones, we'll just smooth it out with the solder tip. What our next step of the process is going to be is we make these custom fixtures, and these are if you're going to be doing high volume reballing, or if you have larger chips or do a lot of them where you have the fixtures made. So you have what they call universal fixtures, and we can do a lot of different sizes of chips. And the solder balls sit on there freely, so you need a little bit of a technique. We train you to do it, but you need a little bit of a technique to get that 100%. When you're doing high volume and you don't want the balls to roll, or you got a lot of balls, we make these custom fixtures. And what these fixtures do is they hold the chip in place. And we have a stencil that goes on, and then this holds the stencil in place. And we line the solder chip pads to the stencil, and it tightens up. Then what happens is we put the solder balls in here, and once the solder balls are in place, this whole unit goes through a reflow oven. And what happens is this will hold the solder balls 100% on pad. When they reflow, there'll be no movement, and you get 100% yield on solder balling on these. So this is a nice little fixture where you can hold the balls in place. And again, we're going to let the chips cool down and touch them up, and then we'll do another segment shortly on how to put the solder balls in this fixture. So that's our segment for this morning. Stay tuned. In about a half hour, 45 minutes, we'll have our next segment on reballing using the high volume custom made fixtures that we provide here. Thanks for watching.